The protagonist wakes up on the ground in the middle of the night, and the system congratulates him for being chosen to become a supreme being. Still lying down, confused, looking at the system window, the system tells him he will take on the appearance of a fictional character from Iron-Blooded Engineer. The protagonist realizes it is the novel he was reading the previous night. The system wishes him good luck, and he, still on the ground, notices that he has truly reincarnated, as in the mangas. He gets up from the ground and realizes it is very cold. The system sends a teasing message saying that his mouth is like that because he slept on the street and laughs at him. Annoyed, he hits the system screen. Suddenly, someone calls for him, saying they searched for him everywhere. It was a man with a sword and blue hair, the protagonist of the series, Javier Asrahan. The protagonist is surprised because he looks just like the illustrations and realizes that his name is Lloyd. He remembers the story of the novel he reincarnated into. At the beginning, Javier was just an anonymous knight of Baron Arcus Frontera, and the name of the Baron's eldest son was Eloyd. And the protagonist realizes he reincarnated as the scoundrel Lloyd Frontera. He looks at the knight and says he never called the master a scoundrel, but is happy that he knows his title. Arriving home, Lloyd notices that it is a medieval world with no heating in the houses. He asks the knight if his family is in debt, and the knight replies that it is nothing new or surprising and leaves. He remembers what happened to the Baron and his wife. They committed suicide because they couldn't pay their debts, and the eldest son became the heir, but died after drinking too much. The protagonist gets furious because he is as miserable as in his previous life. The next day, the protagonist's mother asks him to go and apologize to the bar he destroyed the previous night. He says he will and leaves everyone perplexed. As he walks through the city, everyone hides in fear of his personality. He looks at the system wanting to know if he has any power or cheat, but the only titles he has are scum and problematic drunk. Furious, he hits the system again, but the knight calls for him because they have arrived at the bar. He enters and apologizes to the owner. The owner, afraid, asks him not to harm him, and he uses his scoundrel face and apologizes again, and the owner says it's okay. As they walk, the knight mentions that the bar owner's mother is sick due to the cold. The protagonist thinks that a fireplace is not enough to heat that place. He stops and has an idea. He thinks that in this place, there is no stone flooring, and if he can build that in this world, he could sell it. He had taken a civil engineering course and was able to build his own house in the military, and so he will start paying off the Baron's family's debts. He calls the knight and says they are going back to the bar because he will give his first order. The system window appears again and says that his journey has begun and shows him that he has RP, which are relationship points that he earns by improving his relationship with key characters.